1051. To get into the topical conversation for today, obviously the major headline across different tabloids from Guardian to the Vanguard and the Punch read this morning has to be, the end of the state of emergency declared by the president in Rivers State, which means that, the governor, Sim Fubara, and the deputy and the legislators are now to resume duty once more at the end of the emergency rule today, especially with a statement released by the president yesterday. And joining us to actually have the conversation in-house today again is Joshua Moses, who returns on the show.
Good morning,
Joshua. Hello.
Good morning. Great to have you back on the lineup. And I think, a lot of talk going on till this day when this is going to be done. Since the emergency rule was declared 6 months ago, on March 18, 2025, due to what the president called a political breakdown of law and order in the state due to a political and constitutional standoff between the governor and the state assembly. Would agree that they weren't pretty sights, initially what we were seeing there. And as much as some people would say that, the president did not act constitutionally and declaring the emergency, everybody can agree that things were not actually going well in the state. But it's all done now, despite the numerous lawsuits. If my calculation are right, over 40 lawsuits have been filed in different courts in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Yenagoa, challenging the declaration of emergency. And also, there's a case at the Supreme Court right now by 11 state governors who also are challenging the declaration of the emergency rule. And the Supreme Court has not yet ruled on that. But in all of this, there is now a return to democratic rule of system in the states. I think people in Rivers State can be happy once more.
I don't think they can be happy once more. This is there's this kind of peace, the negative peace.
Yeah.
Somebody I give to you a phone, but that at any whim I can take it back from you. So that is what it feels like. Fubara is going there to do what? Like he has lost. For me, I think the people will see him like he has lost credibility. What's going to be the new relation, the new dynamics between him and the House of Assembly? Them having known that, okay, we had somehow scored the upper hand because we're in a certain camp, and him knowing that, in fact, let's look at the fact that he had new local government chairman, that he knows, ideally he's not supposed to know anything about it, but he's been cut off from that process. So how is he going to work with them for proper development of the state? Those ones can stir up trouble for him anytime he disagrees with maybe the other faction who's basically calling the shots in the state. So it's basically a breakdown of our judicial system that we are seeing, and it's something that has been coming for a long time. Something happens between executive branch, legislative branches of government, and you find out that the judiciary somehow muddles it up instead of clearing it up. And at the end of the day, sometimes because of those dirt in the water, people take laws into their hands. And like in the case of Rivers State, it has also set a precedent for whoever becomes Nigeria's this current president and subsequent president on how they can punish governors. Because what happened was that the National Assembly gave backing to what the president did, that a lot of people described as illegal. So somehow it becomes a thing now that the president can do without clear-cut determination of what exactly constitutes breakdown of law and order. So, and we know that in Nigeria's political climate, anybody can instigate anything and allege that there's been a break, because we've seen states where some local governments were taken captive by hosts. In fact, if you go on the newspapers, you will see in Katsina State there are negotiations going on with bandit leaders in communities. And the states were not placed on emergency rule or anything. So this one that didn't even spill out on the streets say it loosely is what we have. So presidents who want to punish governors tomorrow now have a room to do that, and governors who become who know that they can't be taken out will now have to toe the line, because tomorrow if the president picks up his phone and says, Fubara, I need you to do XYZE, there is no way Fubara would do it. Now to the Supreme Court that had cases pending before it and didn't do, didn't hear the case, didn't rule on this case, something that is of national interest, because the president said something in his speech that I think he was not unaware of the fact that a lot of people went to court to challenge the legality and all that. That is what they are supposed to do. But it's like a backhanded compliment We're supposed to go to court, but at the same time, the court will not hear us until after the facts, basically. And so it becomes, I don't know how they put it in their list. It's basically moot now,
Yeah.
So it tells you that the key players in Nigeria's institutions and democracy are all paying lip service to what we consider Barack Obama released a statement and said democracy is not, yesterday he said democracy is not a self-running institution. It takes you and I and people who are, in quotes, guardians. When a lot of these are officers get into power, they swear by the constitution. But when they get into power, they rule by fiat, they rule by decree. There's nothing constitutional about what they do. Now, the sole administrator didn't have checks nor balance. So are we going to see any EFCC probe to know if he judiciously, because he's claiming that he judiciously used money, he conducted local government. So who checks him? Fubara now may not dare to do that because it will just ring of him still going back to fight a fight that a lot of people think he has lost. But we both know that the reason we have institutions of government is so that there will be checks and balances. But you had a sole administrator for a state like Rivers State. Now, this may not touch home, but if Lagos becomes an opposition state tomorrow and the government in power does it, maybe that's when it's going to hit home.
So we talked about, when I mentioned about possibly the people in Rivers State might be happy once more because democratic government is resuming. Let's also talk about people who could be tempted to be winners or losers in this. You already see Fubara as someone who has lost a lot of ground and credibility amongst the people there. But generally, for the sanity of the state, what will it be now if resumption today, the legislative arm of government and executive arm of government can now be seen to be working together? Isn't that good for the state as a whole? Isn't that what we've been craving for the past year or so?
But we know for a fact that they won't work together. See, the idea of working together is... a
resolution was not found in the past 6 months.
So, if there's no victor, no vanquished, but we know that somebody won, right? Psychologically, it does something to you. So, we are going to see Fubara's body language in the next 2, 3, 4 months. Now, we both know that if he moves in a certain way, there will be threat of impeachment. Because if you follow Wike's interviews so far, he's still saying if he does anyhow, he will see anyhow. Yes, it looks like because again, the rule of the emergency rule is not going to be more than 6 months. So whether the president had called it off or not, except the House or the National Assembly decides to elongate it.
Yeah.
So it would have ended. So on Fubara's part, he could easily have said, no, let me wait it out. There's no need to even go through this route. Let's wait it. They waited it out. 6 months has gone. But it doesn't stop what is brewing there, because at the heart of this thing is resource control for 2027. Everybody place your own people at strategic points. Now, the local government election that was run, who won the elections?
Mostly APC.
So, what are we saying?
So, at the end of the day, he's the governor. What should be...
Wike is in PDP, Fubara is in PDP, and somehow APC won the whole...
just following up with what Onome asked, at the end of the day, he's the governor still in Rivers State. What should be the priorities of the governor Fubara, his deputy, the State House of Assembly, to make sure that the governance in Rivers State is stable, so history will not repeat itself? Because like you said, it seems like something that could be taken away from him anytime there's supposedly issues
in Nigeria's current dispensation. The power of the governor is to pass budgets and execute, basically. And then the House is to scrutinize the budget and make sure what caused part of their problem was budget.
Yeah.
You understand?
Which has finally been done by the Ibas administration.
Now, both of them might also come back and look at that budget and say it doesn't work for us. And then another set of issues starts brewing again. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. So, yes, we would expect as mature individuals that they will put... But the reality is that nobody is going to put the interest of Rivers State forward.
How will this affect him in the coming elections in 2027?
It's clear to see that he's lost political ground, he's lost political mileage, and except maybe he decamps to a stronger party and gives the ruling party, Wike and his people a run for their money. But him being in PDP, currently, what is the state of PDP? PDP is under Wike's control. Some of the big wigs who ordinarily should have had his back have all decamped to ADC. So he really doesn't have a base neither at the national level or at the state level to pull anything. So he's just going to be subservient to Wike. But for the people of Rivers State, which is what you people have been asking, I think everybody's on sit down look. Because I saw some videos the other day, people were complaining of trash in the streets, people were complaining of things being hard, the money not flowing, because this is what the government does, really.
Yeah.
You know, you give out contracts, people buy, money flows into the system, and then policies are properly regulated. I want to stamp something, it is done. Officials come to check, do their duties. But the fact is, these things have been absent for 6 months. It will take people some time to readjust, you know, to the system again, get used to the governor's legitimacy. Don't forget, legitimacy is conferred by the people.
Yeah.
You know, you may have won the election, but things may have happened and the authority is now being questioned. Traditional rulers, for instance, how many of them maybe a traditional ruler who messes up now, he decides to remove the person. All the person does is switch lawyers and he has another problem. So legitimacy is actually lost. You can't compare him to other governors who have had unbroken, you know, rule or administration in their state anymore. But he still has 2 years to readjust and maybe win back. Because if I were him now, I will work to win back the hearts and minds of people of Rivers.
So talking about the political angle of this, you talked about where he stands right now politically and what he has. A few days ago on national TV, certain factional APC spokesperson went on, in Rivers State, Darlington Wajo went on and said, you know, Fubara should actually come join the APC. Obviously, this has been something in the backdrop, the back corner. Do you think, realistically, this could be Fubara's next move?
What political currency does he have? That's the question. Now, Wike is PDP in name and paper, but in spirit, where does he actually? APC just cleared Rivers State.
Political currency not also conferred?
No.
If we align with the right people.
Political currency is, you know what, I can give you 10 local government areas in this election.
Yeah.
I can give you 2 million votes. I can give you 500,000 votes in this area. And they give you whatever backing and you deliver. He can't say that currently because Wike is the one pulling the strings. Wike has just delivered APC at the local government level Rivers State to APC at the local government level, right? If the governor does join APC or chooses to join APC, it's more like, you know what, you're just coming to maybe legitimize yourself, but it is not going to change anything for him per se. Where I'm coming from is, if he really wants to have that currency, begin to be people first, you know, win the hearts and minds of people. The problem is, many people are disillusioned with their government officials. You know, they say one thing, they do different things. So there's nobody that really believes a politician in Nigeria except you're directly benefiting from him. So he needs to actually convince the people that he's for them. Frankly, how many people stood up to go and, you know, protest his removal? Because he's just another regular governor in the state that people know about but they don't feel. Which is the story of 36 state governors. If you go on the newspapers now, there are some series on health centers in many states that are dilapidated. There are schools that are dilapidated. Go and see the budgets of many states. All of them are projects that the people don't feel. So he needs to do something that we've never seen before, and so that if he decides to go and runs on a fringe party, people of Rivers State will come out, vote for him, and defend the votes. That's the only way he can win.
All right, thank you very much. You can also let your voice heard and get your thoughts on this matter here. Send your message to us on WhatsApp, and also you can call at this point.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. Jonathan is on.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Welcome.
Let me correct something here. The people have never been at the mind of any government. So, Mr. Yogesh, forget that. Nobody, the people. It's only when case come be like this, you'll be calling people. So let's forget that.
I never said they were, did I?
No, you said you should make sure the people have never been on his radar, is what I'm telling you. And no other government, even presidents, we have not been on their radar. They are on their own. They have always been on there, what I'm telling you. The fact is this, what Tinubu have done, let's give him his flowers. Mr. Onome, America has exchanged crime committer for another crime committer. It's not the fact that has happened. Now, if there is dispute, there is chance for settlement. That's what Tinubu has done. You can imagine how many weeks you have not talked about this topic. Give him his flowers. And forget, PDP is gone. The governor should use wisdom and count his teeth with his tongue. If I were him, I'll just decamp and leave that PDP. Enjoy your money.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts and opinion. Also, thank you for keeping it to under 1 minute or less.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, police.
Good morning.
congratulate on him.
Welcome.
Please, let's quickly correct an impression. What Tinubu did in River State, Senegal, according to Constitution, he has also power to remove any elected political office holder. He's there. Now, let's believe that the Supreme Court justices, they will summon the courage, that they are better courage. They are going to make pronouncement that will make what he did in River State is there's something that wants to happen. Everything was against when he was leader of opposition. It's what they have done on 10 times. Let me say this: those illegal local government they conducted, River State will be voided because you know what? The reason why Supreme Court voided the one Fubara conducted was because the electoral law said 3 months notice. Well, that was why he was voted. Now this one is 2 months notice. Supposed to be 3 months. That means I'm going to void it. Let's see. Fubara will stay till December 29, 2027. He will not. You wait and see. That's 6 months. He will serve it.
Thank you, Osage. Just a minute to share your views. We are also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also drop your comments there, and also on WhatsApp 0909 916 4403. Hello, good morning.
A very good morning to the City family.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
More blessings for all of you. Bless your management, and may God bless my country, Nigeria. Yes. Number one. Let me mention my name. My name is Prince Wise, calling you from Oshodi. It's in the city, in the center of the universe. Now, for River State matter, I think whether emergency is illegal or no legal, I think we want somebody to take the matter to Supreme Court to determine because it started 1962 when we have the same thing in the Western region. But when we talk of this issue now, my happiness that 6 months, no flag was key, no riot, no problem. I think now, Mr. President, Mr. Governor, Fubara have attended the University of Politics. As he resumed today, he will know how to play politics. Because Nigeria politics, like the way they play in Nigeria, that's how they play in America.
Thank you, Prince YS. You just have a minute. Hello, 0700 1051. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yeah. Ramini and
Good morning.
how are you?
We're
Fine,
doing
thank you
good.
very much.
God bless you for the good job you are doing.
Thank you.
My name is Barrister Peter Oku, and I'm calling from Mende, Maryland. Yes, my take this morning is on the situation in River State. In fact, it is an understatement to say that it is unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's a catastrophic development, because if Nigerians allow what Mr. Tinubu is doing, they allow it to stand, we can kiss democracy goodbye in this country. What we have right now is not democracy. What we have is a pseudo-military government. There is no difference between a military government and what we have now. Because what we have is government of impunity, where a president can just remove a state governor elected like himself.
Thank you, Barrister. A minute. All right, we'll go to WhatsApp now to check some messages here on WhatsApp. Steve from Ijakun says, the return of Fubara to the government house is a welcome development of a mixed grill. It is just a pity that we witnessed disruption of democracy in River State under the president we thought had really fought to sustain democracy. It is even more sad that the Supreme Court intentionally refused to make a pronouncement on this ugly development. I wonder what those still believing we are the so-called giant of Africa have to say to the rest of the world. There's nothing Fubara should worry much about. It is either he manages himself quietly under the PDP or resign and leave the space for Wiki and Tinubu, and natural forces of Rivers people shall address things in their proper shape.
All right, Dominic from Ikorodu says there's nothing like return of democracy in River States. There was nothing in River States that warranted the emergency rule in the first place. What happened was a suspension of Governor Fubara in order to reset the sharing formula of the state resources between the parties there, period. Okay.
Temitope Onatoi says, I wept bitterly when the news was confirmed that one of the major reasons the president had cut short his 10 days working visit to Europe was for the sake of the love he has for our democracy, which was to enable him to reinstate the suspended governor of Rivers State, whereas the same president didn't deem it fit to show same love, thereby cutting short his trip when innocent citizens lost their lives in flood disaster and were being killed by hundreds being killed in hundreds by bandits who are now having negotiations with the government. Finally, my condolences to the family members and UBA organization for the loss of their staff.
Adigboyega Adedeji says emergency rule in River States may end today, but Governor Fubara will never be the same. His loyalty no longer lies with the people of the state, but with the principalities and powers that reinstated him. The price of political survival is clearly compromised. All right, one more message here, then we wrap up. This one from Hussein Saad. For me, the state of emergency depostically declared in River State is even needed more at the center. The system itself ought to have been abrogated. We must understand that all lamentations will continue forever if we refuse to take cue from Burkina Faso. Daily lamentations without corresponding actions does not yield any fruits. Thank you very much, Joshua, for being here with us today. We look forward to having you again tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is it for City Press today. We'll be shifting gears over now to Sport City Ball. City Press is back here tomorrow on Breakfast in the City, same time at 7:30. This is Breakfast in the City on City 105.1. We run the city with you all the way to 10 a.m. here.
Thank you for watching. You know what to do. Like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. You know what to do. Like, share and subscribe.